Today's actually going to be a very exciting segment of the Thundertron podcast. We actually have a kind of a collab or guest on this podcast. It's Champion Productions. Say hi.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Hope you all doing well.
Today we're just going to be kind of, asking each other questions. There's a lot of news recently, Rise of the Beast, Legacy, Stu Series, pretty much all the topics we're just going to discuss, have our opinions and stuff. So I guess Champion Productions, you can start off with the very first question.
Okay, so this one, I'm going to start with Legacy on this one. I'm going to start with Legacy because it was just announced today. What are your thoughts on Armada Optimus Prime?
I actually think it looks really, really good. I'm kind of bummed the release date's like September. I was hoping it'd be earlier, but it actually looks really good. I think for $90 it's not bad. It has like 6 or 5 modes. To be quite honest, I've never been super hardcore Armada fan. I've always been Transformers Prime, but I'm still pretty excited for it. I guess my question, I guess of all of Legacy Evolution Wave 3, including the Titan class and the Commander class, which figure is your favorite?
Oh, that's a tough one because Wave 3 for me hasn't really been all that exciting. Like, we've seen Armada Megatron came out in Wave 3, which probably the most exciting one for me is probably going to be the Nemesis, which kind of a given for a lot of people. I know it's kind of basic, but it's going to be my favorite. There was a lot of rumors about it when the art came out, because on the box art for the art, you kind of see the Nemesis in one of the pictures. And so people were kind of speculating it, but it wasn't until recently that we finally got images of it. And it looks pretty cool. So that's probably going to be my favorite if I can get my hands on it.
Yeah, I guess my concern is actually a bit of a story, and I'll get to the question, but actually, I don't know if you remember, I think you probably watched the live stream, was when the arc was first revealed, or I first got it. I got it from Target, and they shipped it in only the figures box. There was no outer box, so the entire box came completely mutilated. So my lesson is, do not order from Target for a Titan class figure. That's my advice.
Dude, I remember seeing that video and thinking to myself, how is that physically possible? Because I've never even heard of I've never bought something, whether it be from Amazon, Hasbro Pulse, Big Bad Toy Store. Never have I ever received a package and it come in just the box that it was shipped in. I sat there and watched that. I was like, golly.
I know. I was so disappointed because I opened the door and I was expecting, of course, to see a cardboard box, and I'm like, what? I was like, this is the actual figure box. I was like, what? I was so shocked the entire time. And I know I had promised to do an unboxing of it, so I just went through with it. That was such a disappointing day. But I know some people don't care about the box, but personally, me, with boxes like those, you spend $200 for them, so I keep them.
Oh, yeah. Especially with the price on Titan class figures going up, because originally when the art came out, you'd pay, it was $150 stock, and then after taxes and stuff, it'd probably be $180. Now you're paying up to $200 for a Titan class base, not including taxes or shipping. So
inflation has definitely affected Transformers quite a bit. I think Titan class the most. Everyone talks about the deluxes and stuff. Those were $4 or $5, but it's $40 more for the Titan class. But I guess my question for you, what do you think of the Stu Series Gamer Edition? The Bumblebee, the Barricade, Optimus Prime?
That is a excellent question. I love the Fall of Cybertron / War for Cybertron games. In fact, on my shelf behind me, I've got 2 of the original FOC Optimus Prime and Megatron molds, and those are some of my favorites. So I think it's really awesome to be able to see us getting new renditions of the character. And I think they all look really solid. I think Optimus Prime is going to definitely be my favorite, though.
Yeah, definitely, probably Optimus Prime. There was recently a review for Barricade. I had to say he's probably my least favorite because the articulation doesn't seem that good in the feet, and there's quite a bit of kibble. I'm still going to get it. It looks cool, but I think probably of the 3, he's probably my least favorite. I guess you can ask me a question now.
Yeah, kind of going to follow up real quick on your comment about Barricade, because he definitely does have a very generic feel. Barricade, if you look at the Legacy version of Barricade, he's part of the Stunticons, and just seeing this rendition, I get they're following the original design for the character, but it just kind of leaves him feeling a little bit generic. That's all. That's the only feeling I get from the figure. I look at it and think, generic Decepticon. But
Yeah.
I reckon my question is for you. What do you think of the new Rise of the Beast mainline figures? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, you have reviewed the 2-in-1 Mask Optimus Primal, haven't you?
Yeah. What I think? I actually, I like a few of them. I have to say probably the Optimus Prime, the mainline one, has to be. And don't want to offend anyone. I think it's probably one of the worst Optimus I've seen because there's so much unfinished gray plastic. I tried to put that lightly. I would say that on comments, and people would be like, that's kind of true. I know it is mainline, so I'm pretty sure the budget is lower rather than like Studio Series and Legacy Evolution. Those are their main lines. These are more side sublines. This isn't going to be a permanent thing. It's only for one movie, so I do realize that. But I think they probably should have had the gray, maybe like a silver or gunmetal gray, because as it is, when I first saw that, I was like, this looks like a knockoff. I don't know, that was just my impression. It looked like a fake knockoff, like they were trying to say it was Hasbro, but it wasn't. I do like the Optimus Primal. That looks really good. That looks really good in my opinion. And I do hope maybe we get a mainline Scourge. I'm assuming they probably will, because he's the main baddie, but who knows? They already did make a Studio Series version, so maybe they'll not do that. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be exciting to see Scourge in a mainline figure form. Because I've heard mixed opinions about Scourge. Like, I've heard some really cool things about him, but then I've heard some kind of mixed opinions where they're like, he's okay, I'd wait for him to go on sale. So, I mean, I don't know.
He does seem a bit hodgepodgey. Like, I've watched the transformation. It does seem very fiddly and clunky. I know some people are like, who cares about the transformation? Because some people only keep him in one mode. Like, that's it,
Yeah.
But I typically pay attention to like how it transforms, the engineering, and I'm like, it seems a bit messy, but also kind of simplistic at the same time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. To me, a part of what makes Transformers great is the transformation, because that's like literally it's in the name. So
It's in the name, yeah.
It can be frustrating to get a Transformer with like two really cool designs for the robot mode and vehicle mode, and just to have a really sucky transformation. So I get where you're going on that.
I mean, yeah, I can't name any by names, but like just off the top of my head, but like there's been figures where both modes will be really good, but I just hate the transformation, and it kind of makes you not want to transform it because it's just so unenjoyable, and you might worry it might break or like have a stress mark or something. So yeah, I guess my question for
Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I guess my question for you is, what do you want to happen, or what do you want to see in the Rise of the Beast movie?
Truth be told, I really would like to see how this all plays out, because there's been leaked context to the movie on the Studio Series boxes, and one of them talks about some sort of like cyber key or some sort of space key. I can't remember the exact name.
A transwarp key?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, is this going to be like a time traveling movie? Because I've heard comments on that. People are like, it's kind of like, the Spider-Man multiverse of madness type deal.
Yeah.
So that'd be really cool to see. Like, you have, and there's been CGI rendering on box art for like G1 Megatron that we have. Mm-hmm. It'd be cool to see like Predacon Megatron, and just to kind of see these different characters, because we already see Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal within the same movie. So it'd be cool to see kind of like all these different universe counterparts coming together.
I guess just adding on to that, this is supposed to be a trilogy, from what I've heard. It's supposed to be 3 movies. Like, I'm not sure what the next 2 are called, but apparently it's planned. This is going to be, a beginning, middle, and end. So what a possible theory of mine is maybe they could be saving, either the Beast Wars Megatron or the normal Megatron. Maybe they'll save those for like movie 1 or 2 or 3. Maybe they're gonna save those and have Scourge, be kind of like the bad guy that just kicks the bucket the first movie, but then the next ones are like super strong. I don't know. That's just a theory.
Speaking of Scourge, I have a question. So there are a lot of different theories about who Scourge is going to play into in this film, but one of them refers to the box art of the Studio Series figure. And if you look at the Studio Series figure,
mm-hmm.
there is a part on his head sculpt for the box art that resembles the crest of Optimus Prime's helmet. What are your thoughts and theories? Have you heard anything about the
Yeah.
Scourge being like a twisted dimensional version of Optimus? What are your thoughts on that?
I've heard different theories. I've heard people say that Scourge is the Bayverse Optimus Prime, but for, like from a different timeline or like from the future. I guess that would be good. It really, I think it just comes down to how they're going to tell that story. Because, when, I know all the Transformers fans are going to see it, but I think for people making a movie, they need to bring other people in that are not, mega nerds like us. So I think they need to, if they're going to do a crazy story like that, time travel is never easy in a movie. Usually people get it wrong. So if it's time travel or something like that, I would be down for it. They just need to make it make sense, because some movies will have time travel and you're just confused like no tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let me see my question. I guess let me think. I guess what combiner do you want them to do next? It could be in Legacy, Evolution Studio Series, pretty much any line. Like, what combiner do you want them to do? I guess in what style? What version?
It's interesting to see, since we already have seen the Gamer Edition lineup forming here. It'd be interesting to see an updated rendition of the Fall of Cybertron Bruticus, because let's be honest, aside from third party, the only official combiner we got for Bruticus from the Fall of Cybertron game was not the best. I have that picture, and
it was not.
It's interesting to say the least.
Oh man. Yeah, I would like to see, just on my end, I guess answering my own question, I'd actually really like to see another just kind of G1 Devastator. I know we recently got, like, in the Combiner Wars, we got that one. It's not been that long, a couple years, like 5 years. But I was actually never able to get it, so I think that would be pretty cool. And I know I've actually heard a lot of positive things about that figure, but now there could be more engineering, more paint apps, more complex. That's just a possibility. Maybe they could release that in the 86 line, because Devastator was in the 86 movie, so maybe that's a possibility of them doing that. I think that would be pretty cool to see. But I guess you can ask me a question now.
I have to agree with you on that. I feel like that'd be a really cool figure to see redone. And I think they reissued it. It was really weird because, like, they reissued the Combiner Wars Devastator for a very brief period of time, and it sold out really quick because, everybody wanted it. But I reckon my question for you now is, what do you think about some of the new characters within Rise of the Beasts, like Nightbird's design? Specifically, let's call out Wheeljack real quick. Pablo.
I actually, just starting with Nightbird, I'm actually really glad the characters in there, because Nightbird came from, of course they could have appeared in other, like, comic books and shows and everything, but when I first knew that character, it was in the G1 show. So of course, going from the G1 show, just like one episode, I think it was one episode in that entire series of hundreds of episodes, and then going into a movie, I actually think that's pretty cool. Wheeljack. I'll probably ask you that question after, what your thoughts are on that. I guess it doesn't look that bad. Like, of course, I prefer the, Bumblebee movie design 100%. It's way better. Would I have liked that design or that CGI model more in that movie? Yes, but I think they didn't want to just copy and paste it from Bumblebee, because Bumblebee came out, like, what was it, like 2019, 2020? It was pretty recently. So I think they didn't want to just, like, copy and paste it, and then people watch it, they're like, wait, is this just the same Wheeljack from before? I guess that's why. As it is, it's a bit weird with the goggles. He kind of looks like a dork, kind of like a scientist, but maybe that's what they're going for. We'll probably learn more, maybe his backstory. Maybe we'll know why he, wears the goggles. Maybe he's like a scientist or like an engineer or something. I don't know. But I guess I'll ask your question. What do you think about Pablo, about Wheeljack?
I think, truth be told, I've kind of gotten used to the design. Originally, I was against it. I was like, no. I was like, this is not Wheeljack. I was like, they got it all wrong. But, like, once you get used to it, it's fine. And, like, I could definitely see him coming up with an origin story, like maybe since this is kind of being based off of the Bumblebee movie or is kind of playing into the Bumblebee movie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see them saying, during the Cybertron fight scene, he sustained damage and, had to makeshift some of his own parts or something like that. So, I mean, it all just depends. But I've heard some pretty good things about the mainline figure, that it's, pretty good for the most part. So, I mean, the design doesn't really bother me, but I would just be curious to see a CGI render of him from the film. So.
Yeah. I actually did find that 3-pack. It was like a Target exclusive. It was of Cheetor, Wheeljack, and Nightbird. I gave it to someone. I sold it off. I was actually kind of tempted to keep it when I first found it. There was only one there. It was at my Target. Usually my Target's terrible stocked. It's usually there's nothing there. So I was like, wow, that's surprising. And I got it. And I was pretty tempted to keep it, but I sold it off because I was like, I wasn't really that excited about it. Probably of that set, I would probably get Nightbird, which the good thing is, I don't know if you know this, but of those, exclusives, they're actually selling them separately, which I thought was pretty interesting. I think they should do that for other exclusives, you can get it, a part of like a Hasbro Pulse or an Amazon exclusive, but you can also get the figures individually, just in case you don't want, like one of those figures. Like I'm pretty sure with the the Wreck and Roll packs, I remember it would be, I'm pretty sure it was Impactor and Spindle. Everyone sold off Spindle and no one liked that. Everyone wanted the Impactor, which I thought was just super funny. I would look on eBay, there would be hundreds of that. I'm like, wow. I guess my question for you is, because you actually did mention there was a packaging art of Megatron. It was in the Rise of the Beast line. So we found that recently, and we were like, okay, so is Megatron going to be in the movie? What do you think about that? Like, do you like the design, and do you think he'll actually appear in the movie?
I love the design for that specific rendition of Megatron. I remember I went to see Bumblebee movie in theater, and I walked away, and literally one of the first things I said to myself is, where was Megatron during that whole film? Because, like, he is the main reason the Decepticons and the Autobots are in conflict. So to not see him in the movie was like, wow. But I think it'd be really cool to see him in the movie. Whether or not it will actually happen, it's kind of up in the air. But as far as the design goes, I think they really did a good job kind of mixing the live action verse with G1 and making this sort of unique and kind of menacing take on the character.
Mm-hmm. I've always, of course, I could be wrong about this. I know there's some, major canon, Transformers people that know the exact timeline. When I first saw it, I always, said that Megatron, it kind of connected to the first Michael Bay film, that he was, he was looking for the cube on Earth, and, he crashed in Antarctica, and that's why he wasn't a Bumblebee. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I always took as why he wasn't there. But I guess my question for you, let me think. What do you, I don't know if you know, but there's actually going to be a Transformers animated movie coming next year. Hopefully it's not delayed, but what do you think about that? It's like, what do you want to happen? Your thoughts?
Okay, so I did a little bit of research on it, and I am very excited. From what I've seen, it's supposed to be like the origin story on Optimus and Megatron, correct?
Yeah.
I honestly would love to see that because the Transformers universe has had, it's had its books and stuff kind of explaining certain things. It's had moments, like in the Transformers Prime cartoon, for example, Ratchet kind of broke down what happened between Optimus and Megatron, but it was through kind of like cutscenes and memories. Mm-hmm. But to get an actual film on it would be incredible because, like, you'd actually get to see the events unfold. So that'd be really cool. What are your thoughts and opinions?
I guess I'm pretty excited. Some people they would probably shocked by this, but I think I'm probably looking forward to that movie more than Rise of the Beasts, which I know, one's like a year away, one's like, like a month, half a month, half pretty soon. So I think people will be surprised about that. But I'm actually pretty excited because, the last like real live action, not live action, last animated Transformers thing we've gotten film wise was the 1986 movie. Unless you're counting, the Transformers Prime film, but that really wasn't in theaters, so I really don't consider that a film, more like just a long episode. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I do wonder, will they, have like animated human characters in there, or will this just be, all Cybertron, which I'd be surprised because I don't think we've ever had like a piece of Transformers content, show, movie, just anything without humans. Which, I mean, if they wanted to take a different approach and just have none, I guess that would be fine. We'll just have to wait and see. I guess my question for you, let me think. Let me think. There's oh yeah, I guess what do you think of the Stu Series 86 Dinobots?
They're pretty good. I've actually got Grimlock proudly displayed with my Autobots because, he's really cool. But I haven't got all the Dinobots yet. I'm really excited for Snarl. They kind of announced him, and I don't know why, but I just like the design, the way he transforms into the Stegosaurus and everything. I think that's really cool. I think it's a really fun design. But I think they're pretty good. What are your thoughts? This is an interesting question because we are starting to get this, and I'll be curious to see what else they give us. But what are your thoughts on the Shattered Glass version of Grimlock?
It's actually kind of an interesting story. So I was actually never able to get the 86 Grimlock because at the time I had still the Power of the Primes versions and I was satisfied with those. But then when I read the reviews, and watched all this stuff, everyone was like, you have to get the 86 liter Grimlock. And funny enough is before I learned all that, I saw it at the store, like I had it in my hands and I didn't get it. And then I learned all that and I went back, it wasn't there. And I still don't have it today, but I did order the Shatterglass version, and it actually looks really good. Of course, that'll be a brand new mold for me, but from what I've heard, the figure and the mold seems pretty positive. I just have to say, because I know the original one came with like a wheelie, right? Like a non-transforming wheelie.
Yeah.
Which I think for
my
this
accessory bag.
Huh?
I was joking. I said wheelie that came with the 86 Grimlock is literally just sitting in my accessory bag. I'm like, no. Support
with this, they could have given maybe like another accessory because for the Shatterglass one, they just completely, kind of cut it out. And, if you're going by price, the one you have and the Shatterglass one are the same price, but with one less accessory. So I think it would have been nice if he came with like a sword or like, I don't know, a blaster piece or something. But the deco looks cool. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Shatterglass. It's a bit of a shame they actually took out the comic books. I'm not a big comic book fan myself, but I do like to, look at the art, and they're pretty cool, to display and just look at. I guess what are your thoughts on Shatterglass? I have to ask because, some of them are kind of overpriced. Some of them have no new molding, but what do you think?
I think they're okay. I personally don't have any because I never really, I wasn't necessarily looking to start a whole new branch of action figure collecting because, like, it's one of those things where you kind of have to fill out that collection in order to kind of display it. Mm-hmm. But I think it's pretty cool. I like the idea of having alternate universe characters. I've seen some like comic book episodes, so to speak, of how Optimus Prime is versus how Megatron is, and it's interesting seeing the two characters so diverse, so different from the normal personalities. But as far as the figure goes, I think they're pretty solid for the most part. Grimlock's probably going to be one of my favorites. That. And I like Jetfire whenever he came out. Obviously, like I said, I don't have any of the Shatterglass figures, but he looked really good, and I heard really good things about Jetfire to begin with. So,
actually, probably what I liked about the line the most is, there's only going to be 3 waves. With like Stu Series and Legacy Evolution. Stu Series, it's on like 111. They number their figures. Yeah. So with this, I know, like, okay, I only have to buy, like 15 figures. That's good. I can limit myself, because when I first, funny enough, is when it first started, they released like a couple figures. I didn't get them. But when I learned there was only going to be 3 waves, I was like, okay, I'm going to get them. Because at first I was like, wait, these are overpriced. And they might do, like 50 of these. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. But then 15, I think is pretty good. I never really agreed that the comic book should justify, like $10 or $15 more. I thought that was a bit silly, but I liked quite a few of the figures. I guess my question for you: what is your favorite Commander class figure? So including, the Shatterglass Jetfire, the Siege one, the new, Armada Optimus Prime. From what you can tell, Rodimus Prime, Motormaster, all of them. What's your favorite?
I forgot Motormaster is even a Commander class, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's basically a base Voyager class. Motormaster, he's a good figure, don't get me wrong, but I also really like Skylynx. I Optimus Prime looks really good from Armada. I never really got too much into Armada. In fact, the only figure I have from any of the Unicron trilogy is actually I think it's the Energon Unicron, but I think Armada Optimus Prime looks pretty good. From the figures that I own, I'd probably say Commander Class Motormaster is my favorite, but if I had to choose one that I don't currently own, it'd probably be Armada Prime because I think it looks pretty cool, and I think they actually did a really good job with what they had to work with, and they're making a Transformer that doesn't catch on fire this go around, so that'd be awesome.
Wait, catch on fire?
Yeah, so the original Optimus Prime that came out in Armada had the like auto transforming gimmick, and I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but Bolt Matrix, he bought one whenever they originally came out, and something on the motor on his got caught up, and it literally caught on fire.
Wow, I did not know that.
So
crazy. Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
I've never heard of like a Transformer have that, type of problem. Like I've heard of, the whole, gold paint thing, gold paint syndrome, but I've never heard of one catching on fire. Wow, that's crazy.
Optimus Prime was the first to manage that accomplishment. Not necessarily the best accomplishment, but hey, he did it.
I mean, I guess we knew where he got his flames from now, in the Bayverse.
Yeah.
We knew how we got him,
You, Michael Bay.
I guess you can ask me a question.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on the whole Armada lineup so far? So, we've gotten like Starscream, Hotshot, and then Megatron and Prime are coming out. What do you think about the Armada lineup?
I would hope we get more figures, but from the ones so far, I think they're all, of course, I only actually have 2 in hand. I like both of them. I have to say Starscream was a bit disappointing because I have to say probably Armada Starscream, just like, the design and the character has to be one of my favorite of just Transformers in general. But unfortunately, his arms had this weird problem. It could just be on my copy, but his arms were pins and they're really loose. So they just kind of like flop anytime I pick it up, which is a bit disappointing. I think I might possibly like try and find one on clearance and like get another one just in case this was just a fluke. I don't know. But as a figure, of course, just, tolerances aside, it's a good design and good figure. I know people have problems, with the Star Saber being not as good as people were hoping. But I think it's cool. I'd actually really like if they maybe made some like mini cons, like they can make these Skyboom shields, the big blaster, the Star Saber, that would be all, the Requiem blaster, that'd all be pretty cool in my opinion. And Megatron and Armada Optimus Prime look really solid. I think they have potential for quite a few figures, like Jetfire, Tidal Wave, and a lot more. So I think that'd be pretty cool.
I could definitely see Tidal Wave becoming like the commander class of. I know we've already got the kind of commander class of the line, but it wouldn't hurt to have 2, and it'd be cool to see Tidal Wave as the second one in the lineup.
Actually, at the live stream when they were, I don't know if you remember, but at the live stream when they were showing off Megatron, you can bring the cannon forward to the chest like in the show. They said this is, like it's very compatible with a lot of figures, and they were like hint, hint. I was like, I think I know what that means. I was so happy when they said that. Of course, nothing confirmed, but that probably means something. I guess my question for you, what do you think like the theme, or what figures do you think we're gonna get next year, part of the next part of Legacy? I think it's supposed to be called just like Legacy Universe, I think, or something like that.
Me personally, and this is going to be a bit of an odd request, but Hasbro's willing to do it because we've seen it. I would love to see some more IDW characters, specifically the DJD or the Decepticon Justice Division, because those figures have never gotten an official release, and I was genuinely shocked whenever there was leaked listings for Tarn, because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I was like, Hasbro's never really been able to kind of dabble with these characters because of their extreme violent nature. Like, yeah, Transformers can get violent at times, but like some of the things in the comic books that were displayed in terms of violence were absolutely absurd. But
yeah,
I'd love to see some updated DJD, or say updated, some new Decepticon Justice Division figures. Since it's universe, I could definitely see them, going in that direction, kind of branching out. Maybe they'll give us some new Beast Wars figures, that'd be kind of cool. I made a video a little while back talking about the theories during Kingdom with Megatron having the whole, parentheses, whatever mode Megatron. And my theory was maybe we'd see some more figures like Transmetal figures like Rampage. I'd love to see an updated figure of that.
Oh yes, yeah. As soon as Kingdom was announced, I was like, I want a Rampage and a Depth Charge. That was like my number.
Yes,
both I really wanted. We didn't get them. I'm still holding out hope because those are probably my two favorite Beast Wars characters, of course, besides Dinobots. I guess probably for that line, I would actually really hope. I think this would be very good for Hasbro. They can make some money off this. I hope maybe because it's branching out to all the shows like Animated Prime, Energon Cybertron. It would be nice if maybe if they did like the whole kind of first season cast, like the main Autobots, the main Decepticons, or the main Predacons, main Maximals, and so forth and so on. I mean, honestly, with some of them, they're not that far off. Like with Prime, we got Bulkhead and RC. All we need is Ratchets and a Bumblebee and Optimus, and that's pretty much like the main cast. I guess you can include Wheeljack if you wanted to, and they could keep doing that for every series. I think that would be pretty cool because unfortunately, when Prime came out, I was actually really never able to get a lot of the base, the original design. I was actually able to get a lot of the Beast Hunters, the different design. But yeah, I guess what question you got for me?
My question is for you, and I've been kind of thinking about this because this is interesting. What do you think of the initial Rise of the Beast trailer?
Huh. I guess people could laugh at this, but I think I could probably do without the whole song the way through because it does kind of ruin the effects and all of the stuff because it's like through the entire trailer. I don't know, but just it looks pretty cool. It's kind of weird because with other movies, I was like super, super excited. I guess maybe I got less excited for this one because, it was delayed a year. I was like really excited when it was announced for July or June 2022, but then it was delayed a year. I was like, oh. And then I kind of just like lost interest for some reason. I don't know, but I'm still pretty excited now. It's like about a month and a half or less until it comes. I will definitely see it. I think I'll probably see it like twice, maybe once in the normal and once in the 3D, just to get the full effect.
That would be cool.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. I was actually never able to see a lot of the Transformers movies in the theaters. I've only been able to see the fifth one and Bumblebee, and that's it. Because the other ones I was a bit too young to see them. But yeah, I would definitely be down for seeing this in the theaters. That end battle with the volcano looks pretty cool. Just a theory of mine. I think maybe they'll incorporate Unicron somehow, maybe into this movie or like one of the next ones, because this is a trilogy. So I'm assuming I'm just preparing myself now for it to end on a cliffhanger. I think it probably will end on a cliffhanger.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
And what they could do, because some directors, they will, when they do a trilogy, like when they know they're going to, they might, the director, he might be making all three films right now, so the actors don't, age or look different, so he can just film them all and then just release them when he wants to, which he might be doing. I don't know. I guess my question for you, this is a bit of a weird one. I guess what do you think, or what do you want the next film to be called? The second chapter or the second movie of Rise of the Beast to be called?
It honestly would have to depend on the events of Rise of the Beast. I could definitely see, something like the forthcoming of Unicron or something like that being an option if they do decide to go with bringing Unicron in. I could also see them doing something with like Scourge, the return of Scourge or something like that. Because if you look back at the trailer, and I went back and rewatched this because I was just curious, but that final battle scene, everybody's, kind of duking it out. They've all got their own rivals. And Nightbird can fly. I noticed that in the trailer. From what I could see, she's got like these back-mounted thrusters. Mm-hmm. And the CGI model, while blurry, you could see the overall build of Nightbird. And I was like, that's going to be interesting, but Scourge was never in that final battle from what I could see, and I slowed it down at like 0.25 speed, like the slowest it would allow me to go. and I still couldn't see them. So it'd have to depend. It'd have to depend upon the events of this film moving forth into the next. So,
Yeah.
what about you? What do you see becoming the name or the title of the newest films?
But yeah, first, that was interesting. I was always wondering, like, where is Scourge, but I do think in the background there is some sort of like structure, if you remember, in that big open battle. So maybe he's like inside
Yeah.
there trying to escape or something. I do have a theory. This could be, of course, kind of easy for them, but maybe it will be like, Rise of the Beast, then like Dawn of the Beast, then like Fall of the Beast, or something like that, or War of the Beast or something. I don't know, to have a beginning, middle, and end. Fall would be at the ends, and then maybe Dawn or War would be in the middle, something like that. Of course, they're not officially like out and announced, but if you do look up on Google, like, will Rise of the Beast have sequels? It does say there's going to be a trilogy. It's like announced by, I'm assuming, the director or like Paramount. So I guess let's do 2 more questions and then we'll close it out. So I guess, do you want to do yours first?
This is more of a comment, but I could definitely see them doing that with the whole, rise, dawn, and fall. And they could do kind of like and this is going to kind of sound cheesy, but like Back to the Future type deal, where it's like, in the first film, we see these characters come together, they fight their fight. In the middle film, they're trying to figure out how to go back to their timelines, and then a new threat occurs. And then the third film, we kind of see the resolve of that, and they actually do go back to their timelines after the threat or the conflict is resolved. But I reckon my question for you is, do you think it'll be like a major box office hit? Or do you think it'll be one of those things that only the true diehard like Transformer fans are going to go see?
That's a pretty good question. Because unfortunately, Bumblebee didn't do that good because the Last Night. A lot of people didn't like the Last Night and Age of
Yeah.
Extinction. I personally thought they were kind of pretty entertaining. Of course, they weren't amazing films, but they were entertaining. I think it probably will, because there was like a statistic of the trailer when it first was posted. I think it's like when it was first posted, it was like the number 4 most popular trailer in America or something like that. It was like the 5th most popular, that's pretty good. I mean, that spells good for Transformers. That means we're still popular. I think the year they delayed it actually helps, because they did this with like Star Wars and Marvel, where they'll release a movie like every single year, which of course probably most Transformers fans would be happy, but the quality might not be as good. So I would say take their time. If they want to delay it a year to make it that much better, then do it. I think it probably will be a pretty big hit, because it's a blockbuster film, and it's the summer. Usually they release action movie films in the summer because most people are off. So I think it probably will do good. I'm just hoping the reviews are good, and I'm hoping I like it. I guess my question for you, which is kind of interesting, what figure would you want them to do a HasLab of? Of course, it could be any price, any size, anything. Any
I would
genre.
really be interested in them doing. They gave us the HasLab Unicron, which, looking back, that was honestly like, what, 3-ish years ago now? 2 years ago? It's been a minute. Like, it's been a minute. But I'd be really interested in seeing them maybe doing a smaller, refined version of the HasLab Unicron for those who couldn't get it. Because, I mean, how much was it? It was over $1,000.
That's the aftermarket.
Yeah.
It was the when it was backing, it was about $600. So pretty expensive still.
Even then.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see them do like maybe a Titan class like HasLab Unicron. And the reason I say like Titan class is because I'd like to be able to see that scale something that's somewhat manageable, but has like all the proper paint applications, the bells and whistles and stuff like that. And I could see them selling that for like $300 or $250, something like that.
That's what I really liked about Deathsaurus and Victor Saber, because they were only at $200, so that's pretty much a Titan class price. That was affordable, because when Unicron was first posted, that was the first Transformers HasLab. I'm like, oh my gosh, I will never be able to get that. But it was cool. Unfortunately, I've never been able to get it. But
How
I
would you
guess,
put that on a shelf? Because
huh?
isn't it 24 inches tall or something like
Yeah,
that?
it's no, I think it's 27 inches tall.
That's a big figure.
Because the Titan class is about 24, 23 inches tall, and they said it's the biggest one. So I think it's like 27. Um,
Wow.
I've been off and on like when I would like have a lot of money. I was like, should I buy it? I would have quite a bit of money. I'm like, should I buy it? I'm like, I don't know. I might like regret that so much. Um, and I was actually pretty close to. It was a couple months ago, but then I bought a brand new camera for my reviews, and I don't regret that because you know
Yeah.
I had like $1,500. So it's like, okay, a $1,500 camera that lasts a long time, or a $1,500 robot that I might regret getting. Because I actually watched a lot of people's initial reactions of getting it. They're like, "This is cool, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with this." Like where am I going to put this?
The size of the thing's really what I've seen some people be hindered by because they're like, it does not fit on a normal shelf. You're going to
Yeah.
have to special treatment here.
Yeah. Like a buddy of mine, he actually got it. Like, he had a sponsor. It was like someone, and a separate site. It was like Xavier or something. They sent him one. He's like, "Thank you for sending me this, but I have nowhere to put this. Like, can I send this back? I don't. I mean, it's cool, but I don't know where to put it." Um, I guess I'm gonna answer my own question. Then we'll call it that.
All
For
right.
HasLab, I would actually really like a HasLab Trypticon because I actually did used to have the Titan's Return one, but unfortunately it broke. The tail, the whole like spring mechanism is supposed to hold in place, but it broke, so it just flops and yeah, so that's a bit unfortunate. And that one was a while ago. That one was Titan's Return, so that was like I think almost 8 years ago. I could be wrong, but it was a while. Because we had Titan's Return, then we had Power of the Primes, then all of the War for Cybertron trilogy, so Siege, Earthrise, Kingdom, Legacy, then we're in, Legacy Evolution. So it's been quite a while. I think that would be a pretty good update. I guess maybe another figure would be a Predaking. Either I would actually say either a Transformers Prime Predaking inspired one,
That,
or a G1 inspired Predaking. Both of those would be pretty freaking awesome.
that's the design I would like to see in the Legacy line just in general because Predaking was one of those characters that was just really cool. Like, he was just a cool character in general.
Yeah. I actually cannot stop watching that episode, where Wheeljack and Ultra Magnus fight him. I'm like, I know he's like beating the crap out of him, but it's just so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a raw display of just how much power he possesses whenever he's in fight mode because genuinely, had Optimus not come there to support them, they would have died in that cave. Like, there's no way. Ultra Magnus had his hand taken off. Wheeljack was beaten to a pulp, and there was no way he was getting back in the fight. And they were both like, yep, this is it. We've met our match.
I actually, with a note with that, with the hand thing, that's actually one thing I like because with the shows and like the movies, we usually don't see injuries like just like usually they either die or live. We usually don't see like an arm or a leg being hurt or ripped off or like a hand. When I first saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, they actually took his hand off. So I have to say, probably for the Rise of the Beast movie, I don't want them to kill off like a main character, but if we could see like some real damage to some Autobots, rather than just death, like if they could maybe have their arm damaged or like burned, that would be pretty cool. Something like that. But I guess that's unless you have anything else to say.
I am going to build off of that just real quick. Maybe that's what happened to Scourge because obviously he's got now. This is probably odds are a design choice, but he has that giant claw arm. Maybe that was the result of battle damage. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, they definitely, especially with these, new designs, because, Scourge in this one looks completely different from his G1 design. They could have so much, creative backstory. They could say, why he has the claw, his weird design, like because I know on the figure, I don't actually have the figure personally. He has those insignias burnt into his chest. They could add like a backstory of like who those characters are. Like they could say that was, Silverbolt, or I'm pretty sure there's a Terracon in there. They could say what Terracon that was. I'm pretty sure there was some Autobots. They could say that was like, Ironhide or something. I don't know.
They had on the grill of the truck all the different insignias. My theory is that they are all kill counts of each insignia. So like if he's killed an Autobot, he'd get an Autobot insignia mashed in on the grill of his truck, and so on and so forth. Like, and I mean, this is an interesting concept because if you think about that, he has a couple of Terracon symbols up there too, aside from the one that sits at the crest. So like maybe they had some sort of falling out in his group and somebody had to go. I don't know, but it's just a theory of mine that I've thought about. It'd be interesting.
One point is interesting because I have seen a review of the toy. I'm pretty sure he does have a Decepticon symbol burned into there, but we actually haven't seen any Decepticons in the trailers. So maybe that's a bit of a foreshadow that we will see some Decepticons. Because I don't know, or that could, of course, just prove that this is time travel. Like he went to a different timeline, fought that Decepticon, and took that insignia. And I'd actually really like to see him maybe do that in the movie, of course, not saying what figure, or I mean, what character he'll do it to, but maybe if he defeats an Autobot or a Maximal, maybe we'll see him take their insignia and like put it on his chest. I think that would be pretty cool to, just add to the little villain, detail. But I think that's pretty much it for this collab. I hope everyone enjoyed. Champion Productions, thank you so much for asking me. This was actually your idea, so thank you so much. Everyone show a ton of support on Champion Productions. I'll, of course, leave a link to his channel in the comment section down below. Do you have anything else to say, Champion Productions?
Not much. Likewise here, go show Thundertron support on his channel because this is absolutely amazing. I appreciate you having me. This is a fun collab, and there's a lot discussed today. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
I guess that is pretty much it.